Mm-hmm.
I threw away all the halfway here, like, I need to go get in my office.
This is like a pillar of efficiency, right? So we have this stuff going on. We're streaming live, and I'm typing in a virtual environment. It's just like so much fun right now. So much fun. Okay, well, so these things are kind of, it's open, right? So there is technically no agenda, although we have some announcements so that I'll make them, and then you guys we can talk about them, or if you have questions, we can always talk about those as well. But it's just some new stuff that is kind of happening and has been happening over the summer. We're really excited about. You can see I have a short list over there on the wall in blue. It's not too deep, but just enough, right? Just enough change, just enough new. So I'll talk about the top two things. So Nearpod is a new technology that we, when I say we, it is instructional design and a new online/Title III, right? So have purchased to bring into Canvas. So what Nearpod is, I will show you, but you can have a really good understanding of what we're talking about. So Nearpod is, and has the ability to basically create interactive lessons, right? So you can take your existing PowerPoints, you can upload them into Nearpod, and you can make them interactive. And that can all be done either at nearpod.com, and then information all be transferred into your Canvas course. So this is great. For example, if you want to take a presentation that you have already done, PowerPoint, right? You want to upload it into Nearpod, and then drop that into your course. Now your students, whether they're live face-to-face, whether they're virtual, right, whatever they are, have the ability to kind of follow along with you on whatever device it is that they have. So if they have their phone, if they have a tablet, if they have their computer, right, they can all follow along at the same time. So now you know who's engaged and involved. You can do quizzing, right? So you can give a quiz within a Nearpod, and that information will then transfer back into your gradebook. So for example, if you have students that are gone for some sort of extracurricular activity, a sport, right, music, something, and there was something in class that day that they needed to take, you can give them the link to your Nearpod. They can go in, they can walk through all the information, they will take the quiz right there, right? They don't have to be present, but they can still get the information. So it makes things kind of interactive. Just a fun tool, right? Something different to be able to give information to your students. It also works really well in like an online environment. So if you don't have your students face-to-face, but you want them to, again, still be able to walk through information and know that they've walked through it, right? Be able to ascertain, you know, have you actually looked at the lesson? Have you actually looked at the information, right? You can gather all of that through Nearpod. So we're going to, over the course of probably a couple of different sessions in the fall, we are going to work through all of the ins and outs of what Nearpod can do, right? And then how it integrates within Canvas, and how you can leverage that with your students, right? To give them the best overall experience. And then if you choose not to use the tool, you don't have to, right? So it's a total, if you want to, kind of a voluntary thing. It's just something that we felt was really tremendous. It has a lot of potential and is something that anyone can access from basically anywhere. So that's kind of a really rough overview of Nearpod. Another one that I'm really super excited about is called PeerGrade. So PeerGrade is, me see if I can actually, I'll log out, so I'll just go to the regular screen. So PeerGrade, what PeerGrade is it is a platform that allows you to do peer review, right, in a really, really exceptional way. So for example, in Canvas, we can do peer review. You can have students hand in a paper, then you can assign it out to other students. They can peer review. That process is within Canvas is a little clunky, right? Because it's a manual process as a professor that you have to go in and physically assign the information to a particular student or person. With PeerGrade, you set it up and it kind of does all of the back end and labor for you.
Doesn't Canvas do that? Because I know sometimes my students have reviewed things I didn't mean for them to even review.
You can, right? So you can set it up as like an automated thing.
Right.
But let's say, for example, you wanted one student to view 4 different things, right? Or one thing to be reviewed more than once. Those are manual process. You have to set those up manually if you want to have one thing be reviewed by more than one person. So with PeerGrade, you can set all that up, and it's all done for you. So you can set up how many groups you want. You can set up how many times you want something to be reviewed. You can set up the information as far as the review process is concerned, and it's all done within this system. Students then get a notification on when things need to be handed in, right? And they hand it in through this system. So the system comes, they pass their papers in, there's a allotted time. So you can set up like a 24-hour or a 2-day period, right? Or whatever it is. And it will allow students to turn in their papers. Then they'll get a notification saying the hand-in period has closed. And then they'll get a notification that the peer review process has then started. And then that will then give them all of the papers that they're going to then peer review. So they'll have a rubric, whatever it is that you've decided are the criteria in which to review the paper will be there. They'll take their paper, they'll review it, they'll fill in their information, and then they'll submit that. And then all of that information goes back to whatever student it is that has that particular paper, right? You can set it up to where also if a student doesn't submit something, they can still participate in the process, or you can set it up to where they can't. You can set it up to where if a student submits something but doesn't fill out and turn in any feedback, they can't actually receive the feedback that they were then given, right? So there's some sort of you have to do something in order to receive stuff like your feedback or whatever it is you're getting back. So you actually have to participate, right? You can't just be unwilling and not actually do something. This is really cool because it integrates within Canvas. So all of your students will automatically, when you create a course or an assignment in PeerGrade, all your students automatically transpose across so that you don't have to worry about manually adding each one of them. And then it's all live in the course. So technically, you wouldn't even have to go to peergrade.io. You wouldn't even have to go to this website. You should be able to do everything from Canvas that you want to do.
And when you're reviewing, it seems like the biggest problem in Canvas with editing a paper or putting comments on it is that the students have a hard time finding it, and it's a pain in the neck to write the comments. How is this for? Is it just a comment, or can I cross out words? How does peer review do it?
That's great. That's a great question. So they don't have, it doesn't have the ability to go in and leave inline comments, right? Like you would in DocViewer or something like that. So it doesn't have that ability. However, when the student is filling out information, they can go in and explain where it is that this specific piece is, right? Or whatever it is that they're looking at and things like that. So you can determine how you want them to review, right? Is it just a general review? Are you looking for content? Are you looking for context? Are you looking for, what's the criteria that you want the student to be able to assess and kind of go that direction? So, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to have some different trainings on this technology as well. And again, it's one of those things that you can do it if you want. You don't have to do it or utilize it. Another really cool feature that PeerGrade has is they just came out with a live session. So you could, in a class, actually throw up a live session and just have people join right there in class and then start a peer review process right there. So you wouldn't even have to do anything as far as having something set up on the back end. You could do a live session and it would automatically just go right there. And then they would just join in and submit their things and do all of that stuff. You have the ability to pick what kind of submissions you want, right? So if students have docs or PDFs or whatever it is, you can have them submit certain things in certain ways. That way everybody has access to everything, because I know sometimes in Canvas that's sometimes a problem, right? When you want to submit, you have them submit a certain type and somebody whatever reason submits like a pages file, right? And nobody can open that, or they submit some weird format that who has any idea really what it is. So you can, again, kind of basically make sure that everybody has the same thing so everybody can access it and all of that.
I mean, I could do that in Canvas, but I forget to say not pages. Okay, so in my cynical view, this sounds exactly as manual as Canvas. Like I can do 95% of those things in Canvas. I'm trying to, right? And because if you said I can choose all those things, can't I choose all those things in Canvas too? I just forget to, so it's like, what does it let me choose that I definitely cannot choose to do in Canvas that you know? So again, I forget, it's like, oh yeah, I've got to click that and that. And that's why students were manually reviewing. They were peer reviewing each other. How many do we have to do? They said, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yes. So all of that you can do in PeerGrade.
So it's
right?
But it's the same basic thing. I still have to go through and click off all the different things, but that's all I have to do in Canvas, right?
Yes. The thing that this allows you to do that Canvas doesn't allow you to do is you can set up like your max groups, right? You can set up if a student can be anonymous, right? So if they anonymously grade something or not, you can set things up to where there's a specific like group numbers and amounts of things, right? And all of those different things. And to me, it's a much more streamlined tool.
So I think you can choose how many. Can't they review more than one in Canvas too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the maybe what I see as a bigger cleanup is sometimes multiple due dates for you need to review you need to submit your assignment by this date, and then you need to review this. So having multiple due dates to cue students to do that can be something that is lacking in Canvas.
The biggest problem with Canvas is I can hardly ever figure out what the due date game is, because like I said, it's due then, and peer review it, and it's hostile to every choice I make. You can't start reviewing until after they're done submitting, and you can't.
Right.
It doesn't like anything I do. That's why we don't peer review. Okay, so it's
right. So this gives you students a specific window, right? And then you have the option as the professor to allow a student to submit something late. But usually once that pass-in window closes, it's closed.
Right.
And they get notified, right? And you can set up those notifications. So they'll get one when it opens, and they'll get one about, I think it's an hour before it closes, and then when it's closed. And you can set it up to notify them more if you want. But for the most part, it moderates the way that information is coming and going. Right? So like Shanae said, so you don't have, well, where is, and then if somebody comes in late, what does that look like? And then how does that do this? And then what do I have to do with that? And all of that. Okay, I'm gonna come here. Nope, I'm not gonna come here. I'm gonna come here. I did bring my phone this time. Normally it's not. I don't bring it, and then I always try to log into Canvas, and I'm like, I have to run and find my phone and go here and go there and go do whatever. Okay, so ARC is not necessarily a new technology. We've had ARC before. We adopted it middle of last spring-ish, somewhere right around there. We are using it as a solution for video content within a course, right? So we're trying to get this. This is going to be our platform where we will use, if you want to insert a video or add a video or use video in the classroom, we're gonna ask that everybody start. If you've used Kaltura in the past, we're migrating away from Kaltura into ARC. Okay, for a lot of reasons, two of which it's easier and integrates far better into Canvas than Kaltura does, and everyone in your course can use it. So students can use it, you as faculty can use it. It offers a huge bevy of options as far as looking at video and seeing who engages in the video, for how long they engage in the video, and some different contents and context things like that. So it also allows you to bring that type of medium into your course in a much easier fashion, where Kaltura had all of these hoops you had to jump through, and you had to assign it actually to a specific course for a specific time or period or whatever, where Arc you just kind of drag and drop and it works pretty seamlessly. Also in Arc you can have like departmental videos. So for example, if there's something as a department that you would want everybody in the department to have, you can assign it that direction. You can share videos with other people, either in your department or within the university. There's a number of different things that you can do with Arc. So for example, this is Arc. I just created a kind of a introductory course into like what is Arc and how you do this and stuff. And so when we integrated it last spring, we had some faculty that came to one of the sessions, and so this is what we did with them. And so this is kind of, again, just a really quick overview of what you can do with Arc. So for example, once you incorporate a video, you'll see here that within the video, as it comes into the course, it has a number of different options. So each of these little blue markers that are right here is an actual comment that somebody left in the video. So you have two options with every video. You can have commentary in the video, or you can turn those functions off, right? So if you just want students to watch a video, you can do that. Or if you want them to be able to actively participate in it, you can do that as well. So you as a professor could put a video in a course and then periodically ask a specific question, right? About whatever the content is that's in that video, or maybe something happens and you want someone to know a little bit more information, or you want to gather, right, something from the students. You can do that in here. And so then as you play the video, I think this is just, yeah, a video on horses. It's not very bad. But you can see, right, in the corners, all of the comments, right, as they happen. So as it goes through, you can see that just kind of plays, and hey, you have access to that. Not only that, but you have a threaded discussion that happens underneath the video as well. So let's say you're showing a video in your course, you have a medium in your course, and a student is watching it, they have a question about something that's in there, sparks something in them. They can leave that comment. You as a professor then can go back and you can actually address that, you can redirect them, right? You can do that all right here, much like you would in a threaded discussion in a discussion board in the course. Okay, students also have access to this as well. So let's say you put a video in, an introductory video of yourself. You put that in, and then you want them to reply in kind in the same thing. They can do that as well. So students have access to Arc to upload content and do things like that as well. It doesn't yet have the ability to record content, but it does have the ability to upload and do that thing, things like that. You can also put in YouTube videos. So if you have a YouTube video that you've used previously in a course, or you find something on YouTube that you want to bring in, you can do that. And I'll show you that in a second, how to do that, but it comes across the same way. And then it has all of the same features, right? So if you have the discussion piece, you can have a discussion about an actual YouTube video through Arc, and bring all of that stuff in. Also, this is one of the kind of the really cool pieces that I love, is this insights piece. So in here, it gathers who watches the video, for how long they watch the video, where they might stop and start and then pick back up, right? So you as a professor can look at this and say, okay, I know that everybody has watched a video, but I see like over here it kind of is dropped off. So let's kind of see who it is. So I can go through, right? Okay, I can click on Shanae and see that Shanae only watched the first 8 seconds, right? That's Shanae. Okay, but do you see what I'm saying, right? So now if a student is struggling in class, and there's some sort of something in there that they needed to be able to gather from this video that they're not getting, this is a really good indicator to say, okay, well, why don't you go back and actually watch the whole video, right? Instead of this or this, or that section of the video that you didn't watch, you should go back and watch that, right? You can redirect them back to certain things. And again, so like I can click on Drew and Drew watched the whole thing. Jeff watched the whole thing, right? So you can see that you have the ability to go through and actually just determine who watched and for how long they watched and all of this other.
Okay, so I have a video that usually have them do like a Canvas quiz to answer like study guide kinds of things. So I could put it in, this is a long course question, right? Because I have to find it. So you can actually add the video stops. Here's your answer the question right now.
So, okay, so that part of that's coming. So embedded quizzes in the video is something that they're working on. I'm not sure when that piece of that is going to come along, but it is on their roadmap to be able to do that. Yes, so we should be able to, in the future, take a video and you should be able to go in and actually embed quiz questions in, and then at the end, it will export all that out to your gradebook. Yes?
I have a question. For our speech classes, we have all the videotape student speeches. That is a lot of speeches. So I like the idea of students being able to watch each other's speeches and give comments on this, but would that overwhelm the system right now?
No.
On Google, we're just doing, shared types of things. Would that work? Something like that?
Yes. So one of the biggest reasons why we went with ARC was because it is unlimited storage right now for us, and faculty and students can use it. So students have the ability, so they could record a video, they could grab that video and then throw that video into their thing of ARC, right? And I'll show you how that works. And then insert that into a discussion board or use it or upload it for an assignment, right? Or whatever that is. So if you've ever used SpeedGrader, right? So SpeedGrader gives you that little side screen right on the left that has all the information and things like that. So if a student were to submit a video, you would see that video in SpeedGrader, right? So they could actually submit a physical video file to you via a submission, right? And do the same thing for a discussion board, do the same thing for, wherever, right? At that point in time.
But I could also it would be me taking that.
Yes.
And I would upload
Yep.
everybody's videos.
Yep, you could do that too. Yes.
And then they could make comments on each other if they wanted.
Yes. Yes, sir.
When there's those dots for comments,
Mhm.
does the video stop so they can think about it and respond?
Okay, great question. So in the event so it works two ways. Let's say the video is going and I have a comment, right? The video is playing and I see something and it's like, oh, I want to write a comment. If I put my cursor in here and start to type, it will physically stop the video, right? Other than that, if something happens over here and there's a blue button, you can stop the video and see the comments. And it also over here under comments, you can see where those comments were, right? So let's say, this is Lynn's comment. It happened at 3 seconds. If I click on that, it'll take me back to that marker so I can see where her comment was.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And you're saying, does it give if I said everybody has to comment on this video somewhere, it can grade that, or no, this doesn't have a grade?
Not yet. Not yet.
I mean, really, all told, I'd rather have attendance work, but I guess that's. I just always bring that up to towards, did it work?
We're working on it. So, okay. So it's totally side thing. No, I'm feeling you 100%. So there is out there in the Canvas community world, a university that built an attendance app that is amazing. They were supposed to give it out to everybody and say, hey, this is free. You can make it your own, right? You can brand it your
I didn't
own.
realize we'd all pay money.
It is something I would pay for, right? Because it's amazing. So that was January, February, I think, somewhere around there. We have not yet heard anything. So Canvas's conference is coming up in the end of July. I'm assuming that they are going to release something at that point in time. However, if they don't, I'm going to try to figure out how or who or whatever, if we have the ability maybe to partner with some other university, somebody somewhere, and build our own, right? Because we do have the people and the capabilities and the technology to do it. It just requires a group of people or a couple of people that have dedicated time to do something like that,
I would totally give $1.
right?
You want $1?
No, it would be awesome. It would be awesome.
Yes, I would.
Yes, an attendance program that works far better than what currently is there. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Yes, and it is something that has been on our radar of this is a need. It needs to be fixed.
But they figure out how to put comments on videos in the feed.
Yes.
Maybe prioritize folks.
Yeah. Well, so this part of Canvas this is all that they do, right? So this is a different arm of, but it is. We're working on it, I promise. Oh my gosh. It's going to be a glorious day. You will probably see me jump around and all kinds of other stuff when that gets fixed, because it's going to be awesome. Okay, so adding a video, right, is again really is not too difficult at all as well. You can do that a number of different places. So for example, let's say I'm going to go back to your question about Google Drive, right? You have all of the videos of the students, right? You put it in Google Drive, which is a great place to house them. So that's what I did here, right? So I had, as part of the assignment, people had to go to this Google Drive folder and grab a video out and then insert it into this discussion.
So they would insert their own video?
You could,
Oh.
right? You could have them do that. You don't necessarily have to have them do that. But again, so this is how it easily works with a lot of the technologies that we currently have on campus. So if I wanted to reply to this, I could just click reply. The ARC button is under this external tool. So it's this little down caret thing that's in this rich content editor, right? So you'll notice like you've got Khan Academy, you've got Dropbox, and then in between this and this video creator little button that's right here is this little down caret, and that's where ARC lives. So ARC Videos is right here. So you click here, and then this brings you up this box where you can add your content. Okay, so now as a professor and as a student too, you have a couple of different options. So up under here, you have all of your courses, right? That if you have specific video content in your course, you can find it within that course. So your My Uploads will have all of your video, and then you can get specific if you have specific video content for specific courses. Does that make sense? Okay. And then if anybody shares something with you, so for example, if myself and Casey, there was a video that we had shared, it would come up under here, under this shared with me, right? So you can see that I have 2 videos that have been shared with me. So somebody has said, oh, I want to share that video with you, right? Or I can contact them and say, can you share it with me? And then they can do that. Adding video is really simple. You just click the little add button, right? You can browse, you can grab a file right here from your uploads or from your computer or something that you've created, or you can go to YouTube and post the YouTube URL right there as well. And then that will grab that video and it'll bring it into your ARC collection. Okay, so for example, I don't know if I have any video files that are just out here. Probably not. I don't even know what this is, but I'm gonna grab it. Okay, so I grabbed it, I brought that up. It's uploading it right here as we speak. So, and then what it does is it goes through, it processes, and then it makes it available. Another thing that they recently just did is they gave the option to add closed captions. So for example, if you have caption files or have the ability to create caption files and some different things like that, you can actually insert those caption files into ARC videos now, and they will play along, right? Okay, so here's this video. So I have up here in the left, this is where you can toggle your comments off and on, right? So if that whole comment bar, if I don't want that to be seen by students, so for example, if I put this in a discussion, right? I may not want an embedded discussion in the video in a discussion board, right? Because now where do students make comments? Do they make it in the video or do they make it under the video, right? In the threaded discussion. So that kind of gets a little muddy at times. So that might be, again, a place where you don't want students to comment or you want them to turn it off. So again, I can just by clicking, turn them on, turn them off, really, really simply. When I'm ready for this, I just click this video, it retrieves it, and it inputs it right here. Okay, so there is my video. Now you don't physically see it as a video, but it comes up in this little iframe box. So you know that video was embedded. So now if I click post reply, down at the bottom, here's my video. Right? And then I've got comments and different things like that people could do. So this is what I'm talking about. So here is what it looks like if you, for example, if you have a video, right? And then you have comments under the video that go along with the video, but then you have the ability to physically reply in a threaded discussion. So you see where there's two places where students can reply. And especially if you're doing a graded discussion, that can get kind of muddy, right? Because you don't know where they physically have replied. And the comments at the moment on a video do not show up in SpeedGrader like they do in a threaded discussion, right? So in a threaded discussion, if you click on that, you'll see where that student made an initial post, and then you'll see all of their subsequent posts, right? You can see that in SpeedGrader. This doesn't have that same effect yet. We're hoping that it will at some point in time. It'll all come across. So, and then too, on a video, if you don't want to see the comments, in this little blue comment button right here next to the closed caption, you can just click it off and then the comments are hidden. So you could watch the video at that point if you wanted to without seeing all of the comments. So you can go that direction. It's got closed caption support. It's got playback speed. It's got volume. It has, again, some different quality controls. You can view it full screen or small screen, right? So it's a very robust little program that, especially once we have the ability to actually capture video and do like screen recordings and things like that, is going to be so awesome. So awesome. But the fact that students can use this and you can do anything with it with them, that to me was tremendous, right? Because with Kaltura, they didn't have the option to do that. And so you were left with having them post somewhere else, either to YouTube or something else like that, and then try to bring that media in that way. Here they can do everything they need to in Canvas. And then all those videos stay in their ARC library, which you can also access from the side navigation. So ARC Media Library is right here too. So you can come in here, you can click on that, and now all of your library is here, right here as well. So students on their view can click on that and add media and content right there as well.
So like for me, I load their videos as their instructor, they can save it into them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas right now, we just do class.
Correct.
But then if they wanted, they can save it.
Yes. Yep. And they can download them right to their own machine if they want to. Yeah. Yep.
Can they erase them?
So only as the owner can they erase them. So if you own the videos, then you can erase them, right? If they own them, then yes, they can.
You'll copy it.
They make mistakes.
You'll ask you to
say
like
that way. Erase things they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to be careful. So, but like I said, you as the owner of that, you could share that video with them. Then they could then it goes to their personal account, right? But you as the owner of that video own all of that. So even if they were to delete it out of their account, it still lives with you. Okay? And then at the end of the class, if you wanted to go through and purge, you can go through and purge. Departmental groups is a new thing that we are rolling out this fall. So most of you have, I'm sure, had some sort of interaction with community groups, right? Where you have like an art community group or a comm community group, right? Or something like that in Canvas where information at the departmental level can kind of get dispersed out to students. The problem that we were running into was students have limited abilities in those groups. Like they can't necessarily submit documents back because they come in as what's called an observer or a class participant, group participant, thank you. And so their functionality was limited. And so what we worked on over the course of this last year with the IT department was how can we get students into a group where they would have the same functionality that they would in a classroom and give departments all of their students that they need, right? Because sometimes in a community group, if a student gets added, they will live on in there, right? So they're not necessarily something that you can delete out. If you want them deleted, you have to contact us because we're the only people that have the ability to delete people from Canvas. So we wanted something that was automated, right? So students would come in and would come out automatically, and they would come in as a student. So what we were able to do is we were able to create departmental groups. So every department starting this fall will have their own department group page. All of the students in that department will be in there based on their major or minor selection. So you'll have majors and minors in there. They'll come in as students, and then when they leave your department, they will exit, right? So you will not have to worry at all about having to manage students as they come and go. They'll come in, you'll know who they are, you'll know where they are, and then from there you can group them out if you want to. You can have them give information. You can do online mentoring with them if you want to. So as students come to as they have documents, right, or they have something they need to bring to you as their mentor is the wrong word. That's the word I'm looking for. Advisor, thank you. Online advising, thank you. You can have all those documents be delivered through Canvas, right? So now instead of them coming to your office with a stack of papers, all that information is in Canvas, and you can have them work through a checklist if you want to, or whatever it is as a department that you want to do. You can survey them, you can push out announcements to them, you can do all kinds of information and things like that to them, and they can submit things back to you just like you would in a course.
So will their majors sort them into groups automatically? Like if we have 5 majors in my department?
So as a department, you guys would then be able to do that. It just takes them all as whatever major it is and puts them in that department. Yep. And then you guys can parse that out, right, however you want to do that. So all the program coordinators will have access so that they can, again, help manage and move and like do whatever it is that you as a department want to do with those students, you will have access to them. And then, like I said, it's an automated process that as new ones come in, they will just automatically populate in. So again, if you have those students that are kind of flip-floppy and they're like, oh, I'm a comm major today. And then next week it's like, oh, I'm a music major. And, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to go to biology, right? Or whatever it is. They will automatically come in. Yes, they will come in and out. So you don't ever have to.
Change their major.
Yes. Yes. Until they land on one, right, that they absolutely love. Or two. Or didn't we have a student last year? We had a student last year who had like 4 majors. He had 4. I'm like, that's overachieving. Multiple groups. Yes. Yeah, and I think, and so if you have a student that has 4 majors, you're going to need to let us know, because we only did it if you have 3, because we didn't think anybody was going to have more than 3, and we found out that that wasn't necessarily the case.
He's the only one that's ever graduated.
It's really,
Was that Andy?
Yeah.
yeah.
I had.
I'm still astounded. I'm still astounded. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So that's how that's going to work. If you would like more information about that before all of that rollout happens, let Shanae or I know, and we can walk you guys through it, and we'll get with your department, your coordinator, right? And we'll get all of that information out so we can kind of get that up and running and stuff like that for you.
It's just like how community groups work, except that it's like more like a
Yes.
course that like everybody's
Yes.
major. So it's not.
It's nothing crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
We're not going to be that interested.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it was more we did it more for departments so that they had the ability to get what they needed.
The teacher, the coordinator for that. So like, how do I end up in that department? Am I going to be an observer too?
No.
Or not a student?
We'll add you in as a teacher. Yep.
You put a teacher.
That would all be manually, all of the people, like the professors or faculty, and then that way, as a department, you can decide, do I want adjuncts to have this access?
Yep.
But
So
will they
then,
put in, or do we have to have program coordinator on?
I mean, it'd be, we can talk about,
Okay.
because if you're gonna be in there as a teacher, you would have access to add the necessary people.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, the reason was we wanted to give departments the ability to have control over the information that goes to their students and then be able to get stuff back. Because that was the biggest thing that we heard over last year, was that they wanted a way to be able to do that, right?
That's a huge.
Well, it's a good way to communicate with your majors, and you know that they're.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
And so that happens, there'll be updated, like, that's on the like normal 24-hour thing, or every midnight, they update,
For,
something like that.
So we're working on what the feed's gonna look like for the department groups.
regular-
Like, who's in it, that's all I meant.
Yes.
They're updated.
Yes,
That's
yeah. And we're thinking if not, oh, it's my
great.
daughter.
It shouldn't need to be more frequent.
Right, right.
Anytime you add anything, then they'll get, what do they get, an email or?
Depends on how their notifications are set up in Canvas. So it may just populate on their dashboard in that course, right? That there's an announcement or a notification, right? Or whatever that is, however that goes to them. Okay, new care sessions. So we are really excited. We started these last year, and we're really excited about having everybody come and be able to ask questions, right? A big open forum to say, hey, what do you need? What can we help you with? And we're really excited because we are partnering again with the library and the Writing Center. And so every month there'll be a care session, right? That's just like this, open block of time, come ask questions, drop in. We may have some announcements, but most of the time it's just an open time where you just come ask questions and we just walk you through, right, whatever it is that you might need help with or have a question on. Next fall, there will be emphasis, and there will be a person from the library, and there will be a person from the Writing Center at every session. That way, if you have students or you have questions about a service the library has that you might want to integrate, or a question about the Writing Center, right, and the online writing lab or anything else like that, we will have people here every single session. And so we're gonna kind of switch off hosting. So us as instructional design will host one, and then the next month maybe the library will, but we will all be at every session. Okay, and we're usually going to have them again at the end of the month. Usually the last Friday in the afternoon. We felt like that was probably the best time for everyone. And it's not that we're not available other than that, but we just figured that was a really good time for everybody to kind of be able to come to campus, or if you're on campus, most of the time Fridays is kind of a slower time, especially in the afternoons. Not for everybody, but we kind of found most of the time. We're also going to, so Canvas has gone through a lot of updates since May, we'll say. If you haven't been in Canvas, you'll notice that when you come back, there is a new doc viewer. So Crocodoc is gone. Yeah, and they've replaced it with Canvas's version of that. So there's a few new functionalities and a few things that are a little different than they were before. And the main reason why you're going to see a lot of those third-party tools going away is over the course of last year, as things would have issues, Canvas, I feel like, really realized that a lot of their third-party tools, when something wouldn't work, even though it wasn't Canvas, Canvas was having to field some of that heat. And so they said, well, you know what, if we can just keep all this in-house and make it all our own, then let's do that, right? So I think that's kind of why you'll see some of those other third-party things like Crocodoc and Box and some different things like that go away and be replaced with actual Canvas things that if something breaks, Canvas can actually fix. Whereas before it wasn't them. They're like, sorry, it's not us. Can't really do anything. We did last year see our actual first major outage, which was really interesting. So Canvas, their Amazon web servers went down, if you don't remember that, for was about almost a good 4 hours. And so that really kind of, I think, scared them a little and rocked them a little bit, because that was the first time that had happened for that length of time. So we'll see some increased things and some different stuff like that. But we're going to do and work on really pushing out Canvas updates to everyone. So whether that's going to be via our instructional design website, or if it's just going to be more of like a bi-weekly like newsletter kind of information, however that is, everyone, so faculty, adjuncts, program coordinators, everyone that we can push out to will get updates on new features in Canvas, right? So you'll be able to see what's coming and what's changing and what new features are going to be there. So we're going to do a really good job of trying to stay on top of disseminating all of that information to everybody. That way you don't log into Canvas and you're like, oh my gosh, this is different, new, weird.
I would say as an adjunct, I really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Often the students are the ones telling me when there's changes, because I missed the memo. So to
Right.
speak. So that's, I really appreciate that.
Well, we want everybody to be in the know, right? We don't want you to be caught off guard. That's the worst thing, is when something changes and then you kind of go, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Where does this happen? Or where did this go? Or now it looks totally different, right? I'd rather you guys exactly have all the information and know about it way before stuff like that happens. Okay, yes.
Question is probably tangential. I had my first course this last spring as adjunct faculty.
Okay.
I teach bioethics. I'm looking at bioethics in the media and having them watch videos.
Mhm.
Some of them may be YouTube size, some may be full length. Can I require that they get Netflix as a part of the course requirements, like I might buy a book or whatever, or who would I ask?
That's a great question. I know from a student perspective, I know in the past in courses that I have taken previously, not at this university, but at different universities, where we were actually given media like that. We were required to purchase X, Y, Z movies because those were things that were being used in this course. As far as that is concerned, that's a spectacular question and I don't have an answer for you. However, we can dig into it and ask. Again, especially if it's part of a course requirement, right? Something that is necessary for the course. It's possible. However, with subscription services, I'm not sure. So I don't know the right answer to tell you. All I can say is that's something that's definitely a person, it's above my pay grade to be able to answer. But I know who to go to.
Okay.
So that I can do.
It might be helpful to know that we have a subscription to New York Times, and there are a lot of videos in there.
We mean students as
The
well.
institution does.
Mhm.
So you have access to that, and you can link to any videos in New York Times. You have to go in and do what's called pick up your pass, and use an ANU email address to do that. And there are some great short clips in there that are good discussion starters.
Right.
It's a pretty information-packed website, but from the library's homepage, if you go to a subject guide, we have one for New York Times, and it explains how to get your pass, how to get in there, and all that good stuff. So if the Netflix thing doesn't work out, you might look into that.
You don't know my name or how to get back to me.
Nope,
Probably.
I don't.
Do you?
Please.
Richard,
Oh, Shanae knows. Oh, look at you, Shanae.
so it's Richard Chamberlain, like the old actor.
Oh, okay.
That's easy.
Easy. Got it. Okay, I can do that. So I will find out some information for you and I'll get back to you on that. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Question along that line, with the ARC program,
Mhm.
how does that work copyright wise? Like, can we just
Spectacular question.
save, like, for example, if there was a movie clip or something or YouTube? How does that work?
Okay, great question. So, and it's not an easy question to answer. And Larita, please help me if I get it. Well, I asked Amy Rice, I wish she was here because she emailed me too, dirty dog. Amy's would definitely know lots more about copyright than I do. However,
What's she referring to? What kind
so if you have, well, with the use of YouTube videos and things like that, education wise, you have the ability, you can link to those things, right? And you can view them and you can use them. And what happens is it's more on YouTube then to corral whether or not that violates copyright or something else like that. And because of the new provisions within copyright for like teachers and education purposes, we have an expanded amount of privileges for things to use in the classroom. However, there are specific things. For example, like if you wanted to show a documentary, right? You would actually need to have permission from whoever it is that owns that documentary to be able to show the entire thing in class. And there are some things that have always been, and education institutions for most of the time either have chosen not to or just didn't follow those kinds of things. Especially as we move now to more of a digital age, it's easier for some people to track certain things like that. But it just is making sure that you understand how much to give and where to give and what to give. And so I will send out basically the place that I go to for all of my copyright questions. It's like a LibGuide, and it basically has all of the information about what media it is, and then what you are able to use in any situation or setting. Much like a textbook, right? You can only use so much of a copied textbook in a course. Like whether it's how many chapters, right, or pages and different things like that. Media is a lot of the same, right? So if you use something that's recorded, you're only supposed to use a certain percentage of it or so much time for that particular media, unless you direct students out to it. So for example, if you said, you have to have a Netflix subscription and you have to watch this particular film, right? Then that's not necessarily you posting that in your course, that's linking out to an additional source, right? So YouTube is kind of that same thing. You don't own the video. You're just saying, here's the link, exactly. Go out to this, go out here, right? And for the most part, institutions and entities, especially when they deal with education, realize that it's for educational purposes and not for personal consumption. So there's more give in certain situations when it comes to that. We just want to make sure that we're always operating within whatever it is. But if you have, and a lot of people, I encourage them to say, if you have a video or something that you use a lot of, contact the person who owns that, right? The publisher, the creator, whoever it is, and just simply ask them, I would love to use this in my course. Can I have permission to do that? And more often than not, I don't necessarily know them or heard of people saying no, right? They may give you restrictions. You may have to say, this was created by this person, give credit where credit is due, obviously. But I think that in a broad sense is really all that I've heard.
But if we're like going to New York Times, we pay for that.
Right.
Right, so the videos, just,
Right.
we're good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, exactly. That's something we subscribe to. And in that subscription service is all of those.
And our students then too.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am. Exactly. So, and that's something too, right? We're gonna try our hardest to give as many opportunities for faculty over the course of this next year to get as much training and development as is humanly possible. That's really our goal. Is to do this, is to have sessions on copyright, right? And then if you can attend on campus, giving you the ability to watch something virtually, right? Much like we're doing today. So you have the ability to attend face-to-face, or you have the ability to watch something afterwards as well. So the information is accessible no matter where you are. Our email has changed. You can still get to us if you email elearning@nnu.edu. It'll still come to us. But we have a new email address. It's called instructionaldesign@nnu.edu. So basically just our title. But again, you can contact us either elearning@nnu.edu or instructionaldesign@nnu.edu. Either one of those will work.
Jesse, can I show them our subject guide on
Yeah, please go right ahead.
So if you just go to the library's homepage, for the subject guides, we created this. And there are some tools in there that you can like put all of the conditions in and it will generate a certificate and tell you whether it was or wasn't. And you just hang on to that certificate and it shows that you made every reasonable effort to make sure that you were following guidelines. So if somehow somebody out there said, we want to sue you, you can say, hey, I've given my best shot.
Yep.
So here's guidelines for face-to-face instruction and online instruction, fair use, multimedia, all sources. There's tons of public domain stuff though, and again, the New York Times has documentary stuff. Just make sure you use a persistent link, a durable link, not the one that's in the top of your browser. Usually there'll be an opportunity to find that durable link. That's the one you want to be sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you're not trying to drop, like you watching a documentary and then you're recording it on your computer at the same time, and then you take that video and put that into Canvas, right? Obviously, that is not what we want to be doing. So as long as you're not doing things like that, for the most part, you're gonna be in compliance, right, with whatever it is that is on here. But yeah, that's a tremendous resource to go to and things like that.
Yeah, the fair use tab has those tools on it. So under tools to help you determine fair use, these are all like interactive things. And you put in, it prompts you for the questions, what's the date, who's the author, everything. Get to the end of it and say, sure, or I don't think so.
Yeah.
At your own peril.
Yeah, exactly. At your own peril. Exactly.
To get there, you go to the library's homepage and send a research subject,
Oh, okay.
which is called copyright.
So, and I can send that out to everybody too. We can send that link out to everybody. That way you have it so that you can just go find it really quick. We can do that when we're done here. Last couple of things that I have on my agenda, and that was it. So we are working on, and there are a couple of things in Canvas already that people have created. We're working on like an adjunct institute, and it's kind of like a big term, but really what that means is that there will be training and things that are provided that are specifically designed for adjuncts, right? So that way you have, as an adjunct, all of the tools that you need in order to be able to feel comfortable with all of the technology and all of the different tools and components and things like that we have on campus. So we just want to make sure that we have covered all the bases, right? That we do all of the things that are necessary, make sure that everybody has everything that they need.
When will that happen?
So we're hoping, we're planning one, and I'm hoping that probably the beginning of August, and then it will do different things for like a couple of days. So not that you have to come for like a whole entire day, one whole day, but a couple of different sessions that are like 30 to 45 minutes at a time, maybe one or two of those in the morning or something like that. So we're working on a schedule, should have something hammered out and finished and finalized probably within the next couple of weeks. And then I'll send an email out to all of the adjuncts specifically to say, hey, here's what's coming. Here's when these things are. You can attend face-to-face. You can attend virtually. You can watch them later if you want. But again, it's going to be a lot like what we were talking about here. Like, here's how to use the tool. Here's the different components of it. Here's how you would walk through that. Some stuff on copyright, some stuff on general Canvas use. Yeah, some different things, just different things like that. That way, again, there's a place where you can go to find whatever it is that you need, and that if you ever have a question, there's all this information that's there for you. And then something I'm really excited about is the wellness committee. So we, as a wellness committee, are looking at doing and trying to do some different things over the course of this next year. So for example, so Shanae and I are demoing standing desks. So some people have standing desks, and that's awesome, but most people don't necessarily know what they're all about. So I have a giant unit in my office. Shanae has a smaller one in hers. And so we're just going to do a lot of different things throughout the course of this next year to promote wellness activities and to bring kind of that understanding to campus and promote good wellness experiences. So whether it's walking times or things that you can do to participate in on-campus activities, where have people from the kinesiology department and different things like that. So in the greater community as well, trying to bring to light some of the great things that we have around campus, like bike to work or walking paths. We were looking at starting mapping out something on campus, like a little walking route, right? So that if you came to campus and you wanted to do something, right, there was a little route that you could walk and different things, and setting up times where if you don't want to walk by yourself, we'll get a group together, right? And we'll just do some different things around campus like that. So that's kind of an exciting thing. Not necessarily instructionally designed per se, but because it has something to do with campus, we're excited about it. So.
Can I tell them a little bit about the Zotero?
Please.
We've had a subscription to something called DevWorks for about 5 or 6 years, and we are dropping that subscription. And this is, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's a bibliographic management tool. It makes it possible for students to gather things as they're going through the database searches and mark them and import them into a master account. And then it will generate the bibliography, more or less, at the end of the process. It's never perfect, none of these things are, but it does a lot of the groundwork. And especially at the graduate level, it's really helpful. Well, we're going to drop that subscription. We're going to an open source tool called Zotero. And today is actually the last day. If you had references and RefWorks, you had to migrate them out of that and get them to Zotero. So we have, again, a subject guide here that explains to people how to get started. You create an account on the web, and it really has some good features that in some ways works better than RefWorks. If you are personally in your research already using something like EndNote or ProSite, and you're comfortable with that, that's fine. I think what we're moving towards is letting people make their own choice. This is open source. So this is what the library is going to support and help students understand when we do instruction in English classes and speech classes and stuff. But if they have something else that's working for them, that's fine, but they're going to be on their own. We can't stay up to speed on all of these different tools. So Zotero is the one that we're going to be promoting and helping students learn. It functions as an add-in to your browser, and then also there's a standalone version on your desktop. And so you have to download both of those. And I won't go into detail because this website, this subject guide we created explains all of that. But yeah. So if you have any questions, just talk to Amy, the new librarian that is following me, Rodney. It has been using this for years in his libraries that he's been working in. So he's an expert on it. He knows it better than Amy or I do, either one. And so he knows all the ins and outs. You can share folders of references. You can create a group if you've got a group project and everybody needs to contribute to something. And so there's a lot of good features. I'm trying to get the desktop version up here, but there we go. That's what the desktop version looks like. And so you would have a list of references and you just right click and say create it from that collection, and your references show up there. When the librarians do instructions, they will help your students get on, or they can drop into a class, or they can create some videos to help your students online figure out how to use this.
I noticed you could pick that if you visit the bibliography, then save in whichever one you pick.
I'm not sure what asking.
Does it, like, when you print out that bibliography or see it? I'm thinking of the students. I know you have that APA program you showed us, the students how to save their citations and all and convert it to. Right.
Well, when they import something into their account, it will have all of the stuff in all of the fields they would possibly need to use it.
You're welcome, sir.
To create a citation for MLA, APA, whatever it is.
And they could just.
So they can take, that one citation sitting in their account, if they have a bioethics class and he wants it in MLA, they can put it out in MLA. If you would rather it be in APA, then they can do that.
Okay.
It does a much better job of tagging websites that you're on, but again, it just kind of does a scrape. So here's an example of a bibliography. It's been created from that list of sources I have. And it's in alphabetical order, at least, for crying out loud. Gosh, that's the first thing students usually screw up on.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, they're gonna have to proofread it still. They're gonna have to go through and fix some things. If there's a proper noun that in APA, that's what usually happens, that isn't capitalized. They're gonna have to proofread it, but at least it does the hanging indent and the alphabetizing. And all I did was say I want everything in this folder and did a right click, and that's the way it works on the standalone. And then when you're out on the web, and you're cruising around, you've got a tool up here. You can barely see it. It's really small. I can't make it bigger. But and so when you're in the databases, we're not going to use the export option anymore in the databases. They can be on Google Scholar and this works. They can be on a publisher's website if they've done a search and they have results. They can be on our catalog. It doesn't matter. Anytime they've done a search and get results, this little icon up here is going to change from a piece of paper to a yellow folder. And hang with me here. Okay, see that? It changed to a little yellow folder. So after I've looked through here and I've filtered it down and it's exactly the stuff I want, then I click on this folder and a new window pops up. And all I have to do is click on the stuff in that window that I want to import into my account. And it just does it. Boom. And it looks the same way if I'm on Google Scholar and get some results. I've got that window that pops up and I can say, yeah, I want this and I want that. It doesn't have the abstracts. I have to look at those before I get everything in that window that I'm thinking about adding. And then it adds it to the last folder you have open. I'm gonna have some weird stuff in there. But, yeah, it's pretty good. And this back on standalone, the other nice feature is I can click on something here and I don't have the full text there yet. Anything that has a blue dot has the full text attached to it as a child document. Okay. So I'm gonna click on that. Here it is. Here's my PDF that's attached. These things don't have blue dots, so they don't have the full text there. So I pulled it in from that database. How do I get the full text with it? Well, up here, there's a little tiny link, and I can look it up. I can click on this. It'll take this reference and go over into our library catalog. And if it's not there in full text, the button's there so I can request it right away. If it is in full text, I'll have a link there that'll take me into the full text, and then I can download it and upload it and add it to this.
That's awesome.
Go out and see if it's on Google Scholar.
I would have liked the reference section piece of it would have been awesome for my dissertation. My gosh, I would have loved every minute of that. It was like hours worth of work right there, making sure that I had them alphabetized and everything was where it was supposed to be, right? And had it all put together the right way.
So Rita, are they teaching this in the writing classes?
Yeah, and I don't know what Amy and Rodney are gonna do. I would guess, especially for upperclassmen, especially if they're upperclassmen that are in their junior, senior year and starting a research project, I would think they would wanna do some workshops, for those students, because they're gonna need to make the transition. We didn't get a whole lot of response. We sent out mass emails to people that had RefWorks accounts. We had maybe 5 people contact us and ask for help. So either everybody figured it out or they don't care.
Until they need it. Yeah.
I hope they don't.
So could we request a training session in a class?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Rodney would love that. Yeah, Rodney and you would be glad to do that.
So that's why I wondered with the speech class, especially because we're focusing on freshmen, they really are gonna need to.
Yeah. Well, if they're in the EN 10:30 or 10:35 online, you're gonna hear about it. I'm guessing. Yeah. But this is your class. I don't know. I'm going to be riding my bike. Don't call me.
I love it.
Call if you want.
You can call. We might have a signal, I'll answer. No, Rodney's great. He'll be glad to come into class and they'll do workshops here and stuff.
Can you make an assignment live after the class study?
No, you would have to adjust the assignment, the dates of the class.
Okay.
So-
can you come help us?
Yep, yeah, so in settings, you just have to extend it.
If you would sit next to me, so here's the deal, sorry. So, because it's primary control, and then but the problem is, you never made a live, right?
Oh, I
Did you ever make the assignment live while? Oh, okay, so then it has to be. There was an assignment. Okay. So then why? What we need to do is probably create a group just with the others. And so that's what you know, but I think what you were saying, what you were saying and I think what you were saying is you have to create groups for strategies. None of that menu was to that. So this assignment is just really some of this. But we need to create a correct formula, right, in order for the applicant to access it. Okay. Oh, there it is. Oh, because it's that's why. This is the part because it's in turn, because you're turning in, and how you turn it in, and Canvas, is you can't have a separate Canvas rewrite and turn it in, right? That's a struggle that I have.
You have to.
You can create a rubric and turn it in, but you have to do that before they actually.
And you can do that. Well, rubric has to get assigned for training.
Okay, so tell us what to do in order to make it as simple as possible. I don't know if this is simple for you to make it live. Yeah, I was thinking of a different assignment. Like research paper assessment, assignment. If that was simple, and then all we would put in the rubric. Is that possible?
So let me walk you through this. I'm gonna put it up on the big screen. Okay?
I love that.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Sir.
Oh, I haven't. I'm not trying to spoil, I haven't. I haven't heard the line of my wife. I didn't mention it.
Okay, so yes, so what we have, so we're one of two things has happened. So Drew went in and took every video that has been in Kaltura and put it into a Google Drive folder under your name. So you should have gotten an email from him with that. If not, I will find out which folder, where your folder is, and I'll send you the link. But then you can go in and you can grab all of those Kaltura videos and drag those video files over into ARC and then put them in there. And so then you'll have access to them. So you can still use Kaltura if you want. It's still available and everything, and will be for the next year. So the only difference is that we have to, so if you have something in YouTube, you can download that caption file. And then if you put it in ARC, if it's from YouTube, it'll have the captions already. But if it's a regular video file, then you can grab that and then import it and then do closed captions that way. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, we are done with our live feed. If you have any questions, please feel free. Please feel free.
You don't need to have context to say. So once you get the outcome of your assignment, I'll automatically hand it to the session. This is so cool. Here's all my students. I can, all I did was click a box to say what they exempted. It's not like, why are they? I know. Have you seen this? This is super cool. Go ahead, grades, and then learning how and it just automatically. If I turn on, here's my pie chart. 42% of them are exemplary in delivering a persuasive presentation, which is, that's the early, that's the half. No, you don't have to do this, it just is doing it automatically. And what it demonstrates to us as teachers, this is our whole discussion with the other instructors, and I think I talked to you about this last time. But what this has discovered is, should it be this high?